Troubles, they don't last always. For there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe your tears away. And if your heart is broken, just lift your hands and say, oh, I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hand. I know that I can. I know that I can make it. Ooh, I know that I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hand. Oh, with Jesus I can. With Jesus I can take it. Oh, with Him I know I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hand. Oh, no matter what may come my way, my life is in your hand. Oh, no matter what may come my way, my life is in your hand. And I'm about to get ready. I might see Brother Mark to please come up and pray for us for the meditation.
Seigneur, papa, nous te remercions de ce que vous faites chaque année que là, bien, tu protèges nous sur route là. Par contre, nous protéger ça qui pour venir aussi. Jésus, ça passe à venir à ce moment. Béni aussi, papa, faire le bloc, utiliser le talent. Par contre, pour monsieur Sagrin, pour la parole là, Seigneur Jésus, merci. C'est vous-même qui vous parlez quand même, mais c'est pas le même qui vous parle, Seigneur. Nous te remercions pour vous parler, mon Dieu, dans le nom de Jésus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And as we remain standing, as we all still standing up, thank you. Please give a warm welcome for Brother Brennan word today. Brother Saul again. God is good?
All the time.
All the time?
God is good.
Beautiful people may be seated. Give God a round of applause. Yes. Usually I come up here and sing, but since he started singing, I don't know why, when I sing, it kind of calms me down, it's amazing. No matter how many times I do this, the first couple seconds I still get butterflies. Anybody here, public speakers, understand the struggle? You still get a little nervous, so. All right, let me get to my element. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will sing, how great is our God? Oh, how great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and all will sing, how great is our God. Oh, you are name above all names. You are worthy of all praise. Oh, my heart will sing, how great. Yes, all right, great. No, I'm sorry. I was joking nice part of it. I had to come down. All right, guys, how you guys doing? Good. That was weak. How you guys doing? Good. God is good? All the time. All the time?
God is good.
Perfect. So once again, I had a saint to come down to my element. So perfect. Sam prayed already. It's kind of backward. I come up here to do all these things and now he did them already. All right, cool. So today we're going to be talking about imprisonment. So just to get started, let's talk a little bit. So what is the most important thing in a relationship?
Trust.
Huh?
Trust.
Trust.
Christ. Love.
Okay, cool. Let's not be cute. Alright. So what are some other important things that a relationship cannot thrive without?
Love.
Respect.
Thank you. Who said it? Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Trust is important. Christ is important. Everything else is important. But today we're going to be talking about communication. All right. So, the reason why I want to talk about communication because in any relationship that you're in, whether it's a romance relationship or friendship relationship or business relationship, whatever it is that you are in, communication is very important. So if those things that are earthly things are important, so therefore our spiritual relationship with Christ, communication is also important. Would you guys agree? So I need participation, all right? So the first two part of the message today, we're going to be talking back and forth. It's going to be questioning and answering. It's going to be more so what works for you? What do you do? How do you deal with things? How can you help the person that's sitting next to you get over it? How can you help the person that is sleeping in the same bed as you get over it? How can you help the person that you call friend, person that's just in this room or watching Facebook Live? How can you help them get through these things, all right? So our topic for the month has been imprisonment. I'm so excited. This is my last time speaking for the month. School started, I've been a little nervous, I ain't gonna lie. And I'm not the person to do a mediocre job on anything that I do, especially on my ministry. So I was like, oh, thank God this is over. I was telling HB today at the gym how stressed I've been. So this is really good. But besides the point, the whole month we're gonna talk about imprisonment. Anybody remember what we talked about during the month? Let's see who got it. Stand quiet. Be quiet. Forgiveness. Anybody else?
Be a leader.
Be a leader. Sacrificing, that's be a heart. We'll take that. All right, same with that.
Run your own race.
Running your own race. And so I'll go in order. So the first August 7th, we talked about running your own race, which is pretty much being your own leader. Not imprison yourself by running someone else's race. Be who God called you to be. Second, we discuss our heart, pretty much how we allow people access to our heart, but yet we blame them for the reaction that we get, which on Proverbs 4, verse 23, I believe it is, Jesus Christ. Proverbs, it says, guard your heart at all times. Last week, Tuesday, we discussed how to reform your heart, how to get a better heart, how to do things differently, which we talked about letting go of the past, getting new habit, and putting implementation. And today, we're going to talk about communication, how we imprison ourselves, how we mess up our relationship with Christ because of our communication skills. So the thing is, a lot of times when it comes down to God, we're trying to create that communication skills that don't need to be there. Because their communication skills is through prayer, we feel like that has to be ours. Someone communication skills with Christ, maybe through praise and worship, we feel like that should be ours. Someone praise and worship is their way to talk to God. That means it's going to be yours as well too. So today we're just going to talk about a little bit. Once again, the first two part of it is really, let's talk. How do you do it? How should I do it? What have you gotten from it? How does it work for you? So the first part of today is going to be, what is your communication line with Christ? Second point we're going to touch is, how should we communicate with Christ? And the last one is, how does God communicate with us? So what is communication? No. What is that? No. What is the actual definition of communication?
Communicating is connecting with someone else. That's what you tell the person what your expectations are, and vice versa, or what you expect, or what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, how you move forward in a sense.
All right, perfect. Anybody else have another definition for it? Yes, ma'am.
Communication can also be a verbal conversation between someone who's speaking, someone who's listening. Communication is also a nonverbal, meaning you don't necessarily have to speak. You can use your body language to say things that your mouth isn't saying. Another form of communication could be by way of writing, by way of using electronic devices. Either way, there is a sender and there's a receiver.
Anybody else? No? All right. So the definition I came up with, which was very clean and precise, a form of conversation, which is pretty much what the two of them touched upon is. So it's a form of conversation, whether there's a receiver or a sender, or it's a quiet, it's silent, whatever it is. So with that, there is two forms of communication. We have monologue and we have dialogue. A monologue is me talking. Like right now, I'm having a monologue. I'm talking, you guys are listening. A dialogue is, hey Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir.
Ask me something, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How was your day?
It was amazing.
That's a dialogue. But a monologue is like me saying, hey Mark, how you doing? Oh, hey, so it doesn't matter. you talking with the other person. It's just where one person is sending a message, the other one is receiving, but it's not conscious to speak. And another world, they may call it unilateral and bilateral. You get it? That was a hint? No? Okay, cool. I missed it. Anyway, so communication is dialogue and monologue. So the first question we're going to open up with today is, put your hand up, please speak, it's not a problem. What is your communication line with God? Or, in other words, how do you talk to God? I'll say for me. For example, for me, my communication line with God is prayer. When I pray, I relax. I get patient. I just wait on God's movement. I just wait for me to hear Him. So, also another communication line with me and Him is, if I don't have the strength to pray, I'll do praise and worship. Because that's what works for me. So, let's just go around the room real quick. I don't want to go down the line, but like, just voluntarily, please participate, guys. What is your communication? What is your communication line with Christ? Or how do you talk to God? Elaine, you have something to say?
Okay. Well, my communication with God is, starts in the morning, I was going to get to that. Let me see. In the morning, I wake up, worship with some songs, and then listen to Pastor Todd, sometimes, and then sometimes do the Bible, but most of the time I listen to Pastor Todd and pray with God and ask Him to bless me and my enemies and family and friends, and speak to Him and ask Him, what does He want me to do? My purpose in life, what is it? Sometimes just talk to God when I'm angry, when I want to chill down, because sometimes I don't want to, I can't use my fist. I tell God how I feel. It's true. Or sometimes, just have a conversation.
Anybody else? Yes, Nicole.
I was going to say, like she said, prayer. Prayer is always a great thing. Meditation is another where you just, tune out everyone else and you just have that solace amongst yourself and whatever your personal space and environment is. Saying and praise, that's always, the Bible speaks about lift up your voice, and so those are all great things.
Perfect.
I usually sing, which would be my first communicating with Him, is singing. No matter if it's either me tell Him thank you for what He's doing or needing answers. And my second would be prayer, of course, and asking Him to show me what's going on, like dreaming. That's the way actually He responds to.
Everybody else in the room want to just discuss that. I know all of us been saying prayers, saying if you have something different that you do, let us know. Whether it's you watching a YouTube video, watching motivational videos, or just sitting quiet, going to sleep. How do you communicate with God?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like the lady said, I start off my days the same. Just either sometimes I sing a song of worship, sometimes I don't, and I just start going to prayer, and I bring my petitions before God. I tell God, this is what I need for the day, this is what I need for the month, for the week, and whatever. And throughout the day, and I'm trying to get into the habit of acknowledging God's presence. So like in the morning when I wake up, I say, good morning, Holy Spirit. So like I try to acknowledge that He's here, at every point of my day. And during the third day, sometimes I go at 12 o'clock, mostly it's for intercession, I pray for other people. And sometimes when I go for a walk or run at night, I talk to God during that time and I listen. Or if I really need something, an answer from God, I go to a fast. I don't eat for a certain amount of time and I pray.
Fast is an interesting thing. I've done fast a couple of times, and that's one of my communication lines with Christ, but I don't like to use it simply because it requires me. The way I fast is different. All right, I like to fast like wholeheartedly, like 3 days no eating or 3 days only water. That's kind of harsh, So I don't like using it often, but like anybody ever fasted 3 days? No eating, no just water. Mark, put your hand down.
Put your hand down.
Mark, put your hand down.
Put your hand down, Mark.
Please put your hand down. A little story. While we telling Mark to put his hand down. So when we first started the ministry, we decided we was going to do a fast. And so the first day, right?
first day.
On the first day. So what we decided was, because that was my second time doing 3 days without eating, and we decided, you know what? Instead of just water, we're gonna do chicken broth, like the chicken noodles broth. So Mark made some chicken noodles, and we're like, okay, no problem. You know, so the first day everybody was good, and I went and I checked with everybody, and everybody's doing good. I checked Mark, and I'm doing good, man. You know, I'm surviving. But he forgot to tell me that he had give up already. Long story short, he made some chicken noodle broth, and along the way, a noodle fell into the water. So he felt the need to eat the whole bowl of noodles. So whenever we're discussing fast, and Mark put his hand up, I'm like, Mark, put your head down. Don't do it. That's why we're laughing. But besides the point, it's one of those things that if it's a urgent matter or if it's a necessity, I'm gonna do it. But it's not something I'm just gonna like, oh hey, I'm gonna do it. I'm trying, and I'll give you guys that same advice. Make it a habit to get rid of certain things just to hear God's voice. I'll give you, for example, our phones. If we could calculate how much time we spend on our phone, it's ridiculous. We spend, personally for me, I'll say, I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is, even if I don't pray, I will check my phone.
You never text back?
I don't text back. I will check my phone. From opening my phone, check my calls, messages, whatever it may be, and from there, flip it on, go to Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, GroupMe. I got all these extra social media things that I do. When I'm done with that, I got my emails. Go to my emails. I'm involved in a lot of things. From there on, I just started school. I'll go into my school folder. I'll look at these things. But you realize I've done all that before I even got to my knees and prayed, open up my morning, right? So what I'm saying is, when you sacrifice that time, say, God, I'm going to give up social media. God, I'm going to give up food. Food is a little hard. I'll be honest, it's hard. But it is the hardest. You know, people that have done it, they can say, it's the hardest, but it's one of those things that, stop. When you give it up, you transform your mind to something else. You try to force yourself to think of something else. It's hard. And if you've ever done it before, try it. If you're lactose, people's going to tell you drink carnation milk. Don't do it. I tried it. I'm lactose. It didn't go so well. Besides the point, yes, fasting is another way of me communicating with God, but I choose not to do it often. But like I was saying, I would advise you guys, try it at least 2 to 3 times a year. Just to test yourself, test your spiritual life. And if you want something urgent or something really bad, God wants to see how serious you are about what you want from Him. So whether it's you giving up social media, giving up food, or going out, or whatever it is that you want to give up that you are an addict to, give it up. All right. But besides the point, anybody here have anything else they want to share how they communicate with God? Any case you're smiling? No.
I daydream.
Huh?
I daydream.
You daydream?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, I block everything out and like picture me, God, like communicating in silence. Daydream.
Mark?
By worshiping with from YouTube lives.
Videos? That's good. Oh, okay, cool. All right, perfect. So let's dive in. So again, I'm sure all you guys know whether you say something or not, those are different ways you can communicate with God. Besides the way that you already have that you are applying, those are different ways that we communicate with God. But the second thing I wanted to bring up is, so the first question is, what is your communication with Christ? Second thing is, how do we communicate with Christ? How do we communicate with God? So, talk to me again. How? Like, what do you guys do? Let's say you pray. What do you pray for? Let's say you do praise and worship. What does that do for you when you do praise and worship? Let's say you sit in silence, which is people we're going to talk about. But what does that do for you? How does that make you feel? What element does it bring to your environment? So, talk to me. I told you guys, the first 2 parts of interaction. So, come on. Thank you, Gabar.
For me, whenever I have to preach, like throughout the whole week, I meditate on that word or the text de meditation. I meditate on that throughout the whole week, and I try to like do praise and worship. But before I go on stage, like it's kind of like a game time, like in the locker room, where you listen to the hype music. Me, I'm doing praise and worship. I'm on my knees. I'm saying, God, speak through me so I can deliver a message. So at the time when I'm on stage, it's like I'm a whole different person.
So you said the hype music before you preach?
No, I'm saying like,
before
a game, a person would listen to a hype music.
Okay.
With me, I'll be like, listening to praise and worship.
Oh, that's the opposite, bro. I got to that. My English is bad as it is, me coming in here having to preach, I'm gonna speak so fast. I don't even understand what I'm saying.
So you gotta bring it though.
You feel me? Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
When I go to God, it's like I get a sense of peace and understanding, no matter if it's where I'm feeling depressed, hurt, confused about something, and you know, wherein talking to a family member or a friend just won't give you the results you need. And that song, it says something about the name of Jesus. It's just like you call his name, and it's this sense of emotion just comes over you where you just, you know, have to cry, and it feels like you're cleansing. And all the burdens and all the worries that have troubled you before, when you go to him, you go to the Father, you call out the Son's name, it's just like this weight has been lifted, and it's like a humbling moment where you have been humiliated and dealing with humility, but just that essence of capturing God in a whole, it's just a sense of peace and humbling experience.
Like,
She summed it up.
sometimes,
She summed it
But for everybody.
sometimes like during praise and worship especially, like I'll have visions. I'll see things that are gonna happen or things that are happening as I'm worshiping, and like it's scary. Like there are times where like I'm seeing this, and I say, okay, this is gonna happen, and I pray over it. I pray over that situation, and someone calls me like, Sam, guess you will never guess what just happened. I was like, did this is like, yeah, how did you know? I'm like, I was just seeing that happening right there. And I'm like, okay, that's you. You're crazy. I'm like, yeah, maybe a little bit, yeah. And also, I like to, like, especially before I go to preach, like you said, like the nerves, they just never go away. I've spoken to pastors who've been preaching for years and years. They're like, oh no, it never goes away. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, what I like to do is like, I like to pray in tongues, and like, I just pray in the Holy Spirit, and that usually calms my nerves. And I speak to my inner man. I'm like, you know what? We're here to just do this for God, and we're gonna go ahead and do it. And that usually comes up. Yeah, so that's how God usually communicates to me.
Nice. Anybody else? Alright. Yes, okay. So another thing for me is so I'll share an experience. At one point in life, I felt like I couldn't pray. Gospel music wasn't doing it for me, and I was just like empty on the inside. You know, it was when I was away from school, of course. You know, away from mommy and daddy. You know, nobody's forced me to go to church on Sundays. Nobody's forced me to read my Bible, and I just developed the habit of, oh my God, like I would go out Saturday night and not wake up Sunday morning. If you guys get what that is. I would wake up Saturday night and not wake up Sunday morning because that's the lifestyle I was in. And I just got to a point where I was like, man, I gotta find a way to talk to God. And I give you guys that same advice. You may get in a point of life where you can't pray or you can't do anything. Keep in mind, God is a spirit. I would say that, yes it is. But wherever you're at, he can hear you. So whatever you're going through, all it takes is just you saying, hey God, this is the problem. So fast forward, I had to realize that the crowd that I was in was too loud. In the sense of my activities was not God welcoming. So I used to always find this one quiet place, and they too will know what I'm talking about. It's by FAU, behind the basketball arena, where the airplane's name. And I would just maybe sit there quietly, look up to the heaven, and just talk to God. And through there, I started finding relaxation, peace, calmness. Whatever I was seeking, it will come to me, because I built the habit of having to pray. But we got to keep in mind, even if you cannot pray, you still can talk to God. Because at the end of the day, he's a father. Just like I can sit here and tell Lisa, I have problem, I need gas in my car. God, I have problem, I need gas in my car. So that's a monologue. God may not answer me, or, hey, don't worry, I'm going to send somebody with a $20 your way. You know, like he may not do this right away, but the fact that he heard me, someone's going to come and provide what I need. So that's another way for me to talk to God. But let's dive in a little deeper once again. I'm going to read 1 John 5, verse 14. 1 John 5, verse 14. It reads, okay, I'm on the right page. 1 John 5, verse 14. And this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, inherited, that's not my Bible, and it will happen. That's the actual verse. Anybody have 1 John 5, verse 14? Read it for me, please. I left my Bible here.
Go ahead.
I don't know where it's at. I look, you don't have my Bible anymore. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, it says, this is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us.
Perfect. And also, what's the other verse? Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge the Lord, you'll make your path easy. That is Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. So these verses just tell you whatever you ask in God's name is going to happen. So, to go a little further into the message, how do you pray? So that's something I want to bring up, because my thing is when I get to an environment, it's not a bad thing. So I'm gonna say it in a bad way, but it's not a bad thing. One thing that I don't understand or I don't comprehend when you tell somebody to pray, they say, I can't pray or I don't know how to pray. So for me, yes ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
So for me is I learned to, at first I used to get mad at people like, oh, how you not know how to pray? But I keep in mind, I was raised in a Haitian household. I was raised in not a Haitian household. I was raised in a Christian household where every night it was a habit for me to pray. So rather than me getting mad at that person now, is okay, backtrack. They have created a block between them and God because they don't know how to pray, or they say they don't know how to pray. What prayer is really is, God, thank you. I woke up this morning, had an amazing day. God, I got beyond my will. I drove. God, I had something to eat today. God, I am here safe and sound. God, I am still here breathing life. God, whatever you have planned for me is going to come to pass. God, whatever it is that you have my name written under, by any means, the enemy cannot stop me from receiving it. That's what prayer is. So the next time you guys meet someone or talk to someone that say they don't know how to pray, be like, how was your day? Did you eat today? Are you alive? Did you have shoes? Did you drive today? So these are all examples on how we can sit there and say, okay, you don't know how to pray, but let me help you understand the concept of prayer. The concept of prayer is pretty much a conversation between you and God, a monologue between you and God. You tell God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Whatever you're going to just say thank you. See, I was at church last Sunday and some preacher said something which stood out to me, which is funny, is we got to learn to pray God even through the bad. Because when the bad happens, a lot of times we tend to backtrack and start saying, why me? But if you want something positive, you still say, why me? So let's not learn to get in the habit of my tire blow on the highway, oh my God, why me? You get fired from that job, oh my God, why me? Your boyfriend, girlfriend broke up with you, why me? Your friends walk out of your life, why me? Don't ask God why me, praise through the situation. Amen. And it may be hard because at that phase, like, I don't have the strength to pray, but everything God do is for a purpose. That person that walked out of your life, something greater is coming. Amen. But it's hard for us to see that because in the midst of that pain, of that hurt, we're so caught up on our emotion. We're so caught up on, this is how I feel. God is a great God. The Bible said before even the earth and heaven was created, he chose you for a purpose. So even if before heaven and earth was created, you was chosen for a purpose, this too that is happening now is part of his purpose. Amen. You don't have to fully understand what's going to happen, but just know at the end of the day, God is going to order your step. He's going to push you forward. And you may not like it or not. What's going to happen is going to happen. God would prefer for you to catch that blessing. God would prefer for you to be used for that purpose. God would prefer for you to be the living testimony for that act. But if you don't want to do it, oh well. But regardless, before heaven and earth was created, you was chosen. So therefore, what's going to happen is going to happen. So we got to learn to just praise God through whatever we're going through. You may not want to endure the pain. You may not want to accept the emotion, but just praise God through it. Second thing I want to bring up as well too is, I'm on my notes here, pray. So a lot of times people feel as if praying, you have to be kneeling. I was raised in a household where praying is you got to kneel before your bed or before God, or even in churches it kneel. Anybody knows the reason why we kneel before when we're about to pray? Sign of respect. So to go a little bit deeper is, if you are going to talk to a king or a queen, you'll bow before them. So if you will bow before man here on earth, so therefore your heavenly Father deserves a high respect. So you should drop to your knees as well too. But to go a little deeper is, if you're not comfortable praying on your knees or whatever your line of prayer is with Christ, that is you and the good Lord, not me. Do it. So whether that is you sitting down, do it. Whether that is you just laying, do it. Whether that is you talking in your head, just like, God. I just talked to God, just not about you, but I'm just like, in quietness, you're talking to God, you're saying things to him. That's what it is. Because at the end of the day, the angels are taking what we want to say to God and taking it up there. You may not understand that your prayer, the weight that it holds, but they will go ahead and take the work for you. You ever had a moment in life you just,
Oh, yes.
like you and God know what that means, right? But the angels too, they know what that means. That sound of just relief, that sound of just anger, whatever you're going through. You may not be able to express the words, but your emotions alone will just take it up to the angels and they will bring it to Christ.
Yes, actually there's a verse in scripture that says the Holy Spirit will interpret your groans, like when you say, Jesus, I don't know what to say, I don't want to say, like the Holy Spirit will interpret that before the Father. I found that was really cool.
No, and that's amazing. And God could tell you, I mean, if you have to talk to him now, he'll tell you I did a whole lot last week. Now, when I first started school, everything was like, I was stressing, and it was just like, but I wasn't able to express my words. But by God, he knew what that meant. But once again, that is a form of me praying. Like, he understands where I'm coming from. So next time you speak to someone that say they don't know how to pray, or they can't pray, or they don't have the habit of praying at home, and if there are someone that is open to the gospel, first of all, open to the gospel. You don't want to push the gospel on people. That's how people walk away from God. If they're accepting the gospel and they're understanding or saying they're willing to listen, dissect it to him. Dissect to her. Let them know, hey, this is how you should pray. Another way of praying is not.
I just wanted to say a lot of people say they don't know how to pray because they get the misconception that it's supposed to be scripted.
Yeah.
Like, our Father who art in heaven, all of it, like, they're supposed to pray how the pastor prays and stuff like that. So.
Yes. Perfect. That's funny too, because anybody here ever timed their prayers before? No?
Time your prayer?
Yeah, I'm the only one?
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
Thank you.
Once in a while.
Time your prayer? So, at my church on Sunday, they did this long prayer. Like, the pastor would pray for like 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, how are you doing this? So one day, I decided to time my prayer. You feel me? Like, I need to know the longest I can pray. And I ended up finding myself repeating the same thing over and over because I wanted to extend my time. But over time, I got in the habit of realizing is the reason why they are able to pray for so long is as you are praying, it's not scripted. Whatever comes to mind, you pray for it. Whether it's your spiritual life, your friend, your family, your work, your country, this country, wherever you're at in life, whatever you're praying for, you pray for it. And I just got the habit of just praying. My prayer got better. I don't say that time my prayers anymore. I grew up. Grew up is better now. But my point is, I did that at one point and thought it was a cool thing. I want to know what's the longest I could pray. And I never missed it past 10 minutes, but it's cool though. One day, God will allow me to make it 10 minutes. Good mark.
I was saying, like, some pastors, like, depending on which culture, if they want to pray longer, they'll translate everything they just prayed in Creole into English. And you're like, oh, here we go again. It's like, oh my gosh.
That's true. That's true. So don't time your prayer, guys. It's not good. All right. And the last point we're gonna cover on the first part is sitting in peace, which is also gonna dive into our next point. A monologue is, once again, what is a monologue, guys? Perfect. And a dialogue is what? A conversation. Monologue is talking to yourself, pretty much. Monologue is talking to a person they're not responding. Dialogue is you're talking to someone they're listening. So with God, a lot of times we're trying to have a monologue. We're so caught up on yapping, so caught up on talking that we don't sit in peace and let God talk to us. Because if you keep talking, you're praying, how are you going to listen to God? If God is talking to you in the midst of your situation, midst of your problem, how are you going to let God talking to you? So which brings up my next point is, how does God communicate with us? So anybody in the room, past experience, past things you have prayed for, how have God answered that prayer for you?
Okay, so for me, like when I wasn't so deep in my faith, I would always get angry because when I would pray to God, He wouldn't answer me the way I expected Him to. Because, I was hoping burning bush like Moses type stuff, but it didn't happen like that. Like God can talk to you in a lot of ways. He could send somebody. He could have something happen in your life. You could even turn on the radio or turn on the TV and look on the news, whatever, and that's Him talking to you. But we sometimes get caught up and think, God is supposed to be like, yes, Lisa, I'm going to do this for you tomorrow at 5 o'clock, but it doesn't work like that.
Funny, she touch everything I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. This is part of the message, part of the gospel. Yes, ma'am.
Mine was in a dream. I had this professor, my AP2 professor. She was horrible. She treated me like, let's say she didn't care what your feelings. Every question was a stupid question. And I have bad temper back then. Still do, but strong on that. And she was just talked to like crazy. And it was my first time doing a lab test. And I asked her a question. She was talking too fast. I asked her, and then she said, "It's not that hard. I don't know why you don't." I was like, "Nick, damn, I got a hold me." Boy. After that test, I thought I did bad. And I'm in the parking lot saying, F this, F that, I don't care. I'm just so mad. And I was just worshiping God, but in an angry way. I was just, to not let me hurt somebody, I had to worship his name. So I went to take a nap and I had a dream. And I had a dream, I was talking back to a lady, and she said something that my breath stink or something, and I just, boom. And then the lady she gave me an F. God, I woke up and said, okay, I understand what you're saying, God. He was telling me, you have to sometimes take it. Sometimes you're going to have to take it to go through it. Because I was really about to tell that lady, what's going on. I was about to tell her off. And because of that dream, I learned how to talk when I speak when I need to be spoken. And that helped me and understand that God was actually talking to me. That was the first time I actually had a communication with God where he was trying to tell me, teach me a lesson and that sort of way. So yeah, that's one way God did.
Anybody else?
Yeah, but okay, this is actually a very unique situation. It's like Lisa said, it's one of those burning bush experiences, but it's very rare that God would speak to you in that way. So don't always expect, okay, I'm gonna pray and exactly hear what's in experience. I'm gonna experience that too. Actually, one day, I was just at prayer. Like I said, during my 12 o'clock prayer, and I was like, God, you know what? I want to hear from you. What do you have to say to me today? Because it's a dialogue, like you said. It's a dialogue. It's not a monologue. I'm not just going to speak and not expect an answer. And then, I just sat. I sat in silence. I was waiting. It got to the point where I fell asleep. And then, I woke up and I heard a physical voice in my room. My room is empty. Nobody's here. I lock my door. I hear a physical voice telling me, Sam, I'm going to be a father to you. And I was like, wow. Oh no! That'd be a job. No, and then and the thing is, The thing is, in the moment, I didn't need that word, but it was months later when I really needed that word, and I really needed God to be a father to me. That word really became an impact. So that was one of those moments I'm gonna cherish for the rest of my life.
Perfect. So another way, just to go into details a little bit, and because we got such different point of how God talked to you, so I'll go over my notes real quick. So when God talks to us, can be sometimes a friend. We might be praying for something, and a friend come along the way and just say exactly what you wanted to hear, or say what you didn't want to hear, but you may or may not accept the message. Another way is songs. Lisa said it earlier. A lot of time you put on a radio, you open up your radio, and that was that word that you wanted to hear. You hear it. Bible study. Right now, you guys in the room, you guys probably praying for something. You probably need to hear something. I'm probably going to say you guys going to get it. Somebody on Facebook Live is probably going to get a message out of what I'm saying. Let him or her go. But that's what it is. You might not want to hear, but that's what's going to happen. Like today, a conversation with a stranger. It may happen. Or like for Elaine here, it might be a dream. The problem that we have is when we pray for God for something specific. The reason why we want to get the message, first thing first, is because we're not getting what we want to hear or what we want. So if you pray God for a boyfriend that is 6 foot, God bring your boyfriend that is 5'5", because it's not 6 foot, you're like, that's not what I prayed for. You feel me? You ever seen those signs on like social media that says, God give me a sign? Or God, if it's not for me, let it rain? Or it's just Florida. No, you say, God, let it rain, but it's raining, but you're not receiving it. So when you pray for certain things, because what you pray for is not what you receive or what God is showing you, you dismiss it. A story is, I'm sure you guys probably heard that story before. A guy that was stuck on a deserted island. And he was stuck on the island, and from there, while on the island, he said, you know what, God, I need help. I need to get off this island. I have no boat, no way out. I need you to get me off this island. All right, God said, no problem. Not everybody, like, no problem. God gonna answer his prayer. So God sent somebody with a little canoe, like a little canoe boat. He's like, hey, you need help getting out of here? He's like, no, I'm fine. I pray. God's gonna answer my prayer. He's like, okay, no problem. He left with his canoe. God sent somebody with a yacht. Showed up and, hey, you're stuck. You need help? No, I'm fine. It's no problem. Cool. He dipped it. I'm on vacation. I'm on my yacht. Lastly, somebody with an helicopter showed up. Hey, you're stuck. You need help? No, it's okay. I pray. God's going to answer my question. He did. All right? Long story short, he died. Nice in heaven before God. Hey, God, what's going on? Like, I don't get it. I pray, and you didn't answer my question. I asked you to get me off this island, and you didn't get me off this island. So sometimes when we pray, we're expecting, like Lisa said, like Moses, a bush, like, oh, here I am. You're my favorite child. I'm here to rescue you. This is I, Jesus, or God. I'm here for that purpose. That's what we're expecting. So like that guy that was stuck on the island, he was expecting God physically to show up. But when you pray, God has no way of answering your prayer. Just know he's going to answer it, right? So God is like, no problem. God said, I sent you a canoe. You chose not to get on it. I sent you a yacht. You chose not to get on it. I sent you a helicopter. You chose not to get on it. So what else did you want me to do? He's like, well, how was that so that was you that was talking to me? But God said, you prayed and I answered your prayer. You chose not to accept my prayer. So you see how sometimes we can pray about certain things because we didn't say exactly what we wanted to happen. We didn't accept it. So let's backtrack a little bit. We're moving forward to the message. When you guys pray and you get an answer, you need 2 things. Discernment and confirmation. Lisa, read for me, please.
He's going to be reading.
Jackie, read for me, please. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 21 and 22.
But test them all. Hold on to what is good. Reject every kind of evil.
Perfect. Discernment. Pretty much when you pray to something and something appears, don't be so quick to take it and run with it. Calvin, read for me the second one, please. So the first one we read was 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 21 and 22. Second one we're going to read right now is 1 John 4, verse 1.
Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out to the world.
Perfect, thank you. Second verse say, do not believe every spirit that you see or you receive. The simple fact that you guys know if you pray for something, the enemy knows your prayer too, right? So if you pray for something, he is liable to send a distraction your way rather than a blessing, right? So you guys do know that, right? So when you guys pray, you got to keep in mind, your spiritual ears got to be open. Because if you pray for something, you hear something, you don't just receive it. You ever had these pastors that just walk, or pastors. You ever had these pastors or these men of God that walk into a building, all of a sudden, I see this in your future. You take it, you run with it, you accept it because, oh my God, a man that was standing up here had a Bible in his hand and said that's what I was going to be. So I took it and run with it. You ever had one of these moments? Or better yet, somebody in the street tell you something, and you're just like, oh, you know what? That person said I'm going to take it and run with it. But you got to keep in mind, who is that person? What is the walk with Christ? And I'll give you guys a piece of advice, and I'm big on it now. When I start taking my walk serious, it's not everyone that stands up here that says hallelujah is going to make it to heaven.
Amen.
It's not everyone that stands up here that is ordained by the Holy Spirit to do the job that they're doing. The devil these days can get up here and do exact much as we're doing because one reason we as Christians have allowed him to get to that stage because we open up that door to say, you know what? I'm going to walk in how I feel. Therefore, if I'm walking as I feel, he's going to walk up here and do as he wants to. I'm sure you guys follow social media. There's a lot of false pastors out there. I'm sure you guys follow social media. You heard there's false pastors. You've seen them in act. So therefore, it's not everybody that's going to say, I'm going to pray over your life. You sit there and close your eyes and receive it. Because that prayer that might be saying might be a curse to you. Amen. So be very careful. When you go to a church, everybody come here, come get prayer. You want to go. You don't want to, don't go. I'm not telling you what to do. But all I'm saying is make sure you are in tune with your spiritual life, because that person that is praying may not be a prophet. Because in 1 John 4, it says, be mindful of this false prophet, that when they're praying, their prayers are not true. But to fast forward a little bit is, example I want to use today is Abraham. So you guys know Abraham and Isaac, right? Mm-hmm. So when Abraham got a message from God, that said what? I need you to sacrifice who? Your son. Correct? So on Genesis 22, my Bible's not here. Genesis 22. So I dissect the story very fast. On Genesis 22, Abraham received a message from God that says, I need you to take your son to the highest mountain and sacrifice him to me as a living story. I wish I had my Bible. Perfect. Abraham, okay, perfect. So the first verse is very important. Pay attention to it. It says, sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Then God says, take your son, your only son, your whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on the mountain. I will show you. Early the next morning, Abraham didn't ask any question. He followed. Abraham had that line with God that God spoke to him. He was going to listen. So the problem with a lot of us is God will tell certain things. We want details. But part of believing is, God, I hear you. I'm going to follow through. Because I have had confirmation already. And I have discernment already. And I know your voice. And I know this is your voice talking to me. So a lot of time in your life, God is going to ask you to sacrifice the things that you love so much to him. Backtrack. Isaac is the son that God promised Abraham he was going to give him. Because Sarah was his wife at the time. Sarah's old age. Abraham was nearly 100 when he had Isaac. How can God that gave you something that you prayed for so long ask you to sacrifice that same thing that he blessed you with? But on the first scripture, it says, God tested Abraham. That very blessing that God dropped on your lap, it's for a reason. He want to know, would that blessing now allow you to stop worshiping me? Would that blessing that I placed in your life now not allow you to not come to me anymore? That car you was praying for, is that car going to be used for other purposes and not my work? That relationship I got you in, is that relationship going to be a distraction for you reading your Bible? That job you desperately wanted, now that I gave you that job, is it going to stop you from coming to church on Saturdays or Sundays? That thing that you asked me for, is that now going to be a distraction to you? See, God want to test you. But how you answer to the test is up to you. Because you can do two things. Well, God, you give it to me. How can you take it from me? The same God that gave, that's the same God that takes. But he's going to test you to see where you're at with him. So moving forward, Abraham decided, you know what? I'm going to listen to you, God. I'm going to move on with it. I'm going to do just as you told me. See, a lot of times God tell us to do things, we don't do it. You may think you're underqualified. You may think you're not good enough to do it. But if God say do it, why are you questioning him? If God say, I'm going to open up that door for you, why are you questioning him? If God say, hit that DM, why are you not doing it? If God say, put in that application, why are you not doing it? Because you have already adapted in your mind that you are underqualified and you're not good enough to be in that position. But when, hit them DM, hit them DM. But if God tell you to do something, do it. See, we want details. Scenario that I had is a GPS. Anybody here used a GPS before? Anybody here never used a GPS before?
Oh, GPS.
Yeah, GPS. Anybody never used one before? Great. So all you guys should understand the concept. So with a GPS, right? When you plug in your address, your destination on GPS, what does it do?
Gives you direction.
Give you direction, right? But as you're going, the GPS is telling you what to do, correct? But when you put it and you stay there, you don't move, you don't go anywhere, what happened?
It doesn't say anything.
It doesn't say anything, right?
It says move.
It's the same thing with our spiritual life. Now, if you ask God for something, you put in your request, you put in your destination to God, but you're not moving. How do you expect to hear God if you're not moving?
Amen.
You know, a GPS, if I put a GPS in my house, it's going to tell me in 500 feet, make a left. 2 blocks down, make a right. It's the same thing with God. You're going to put in your destination. You're putting your request. As you are on that journey, he's going to tell you what to do. As you are moving forward with him, he's going to tell you what to do. But you're staying stagnant here, that you're saying, God, I'm going to put it before you, but I'm going to stay here and wait on you. But in the GPS, you trust the GPS so much with your life. No matter what hour of the night it is, you put that just in GPS, you're going to follow it, right?
What?
Because you have no other way.
Maps.
See, until we learn to realize we need God just as much as with that GPS and that late night hour, we're always going to be that stagnant Christian. Because no matter what happened, we're still going to stay right here stagnant. Waiting, because all of a sudden, God, what's next? See, Abraham, God spoke to him. God said, go to the mountain, I'll give you the next instruction. So God is telling you, wherever you're at now in life, make the next move. I will give you the next instruction. But as long as you are staying here, I can't use you. As long as you are staying here in the city, I can't use you. As long as you are staying in the same car that you're in, I can't use you. As long as you're still in that relationship that you're in, I can't use you. As long as you're in that job, I cannot use you because you are stagnant. Abraham was not stagnant. God told Abraham, move. Go to the mountain, I will give you the next instruction. He went onto the mountain with the son that he loved so much and got the next instruction. At the end of that story, God said, you know what, Abraham? Thank you for showing that you love me. You respect me. Don't sacrifice your son. That was the animal that you're going to sacrifice. That was in that story. But for you, as long as you are still in that same place, there's no telling what is God asking you to sacrifice. Because you're not making any move. You're not making any move. So you got to learn to understand. We can talk to God. But when God talks to us, if we're not acting up on what he tells us to do, it's a waste of time. Because as much as we're talking, he's responding. But our action will determine everything. Because if I'm staying here and God is talking to me, I'm not going to go anywhere. See, Abraham got him to move. He moved. He didn't wait. So what is God asking you to do that you're not doing yet? You ain't got to tell me, but what does God tell you to let go of that you're still holding on to? You ain't got to tell me, but what is the God that's saying, I need you to separate yourself from, so I can see how far I'm going to take you. Because we say once again, before the heaven and earth was created, God chose you for a purpose. So whatever you're doing now, it's not aligning with God. You know what it is. I ain't got to tell you, you know what it is. So he needs you to separate yourself from that thing so he can pursue and move forward with you. But also, part of listening to God, guys, required keeping things to yourself. Back to the Abraham story. Now, put into perspective, right? Like I said earlier, Sarah and Abraham was about 100 plus. 100, and Sarah was older than Abraham, so she was already 100 when God gave him the son, right? Now, imagine Abraham going by and saying, you know what, Sarah, I know we love our son so much, but God have asked me to sacrifice my son to him. And that day and age, sacrifice means killing. All right? Today, sacrifice might mean put into a side or letting go, whatever. But that day and age, sacrifice meant killing. All right? So imagine going to Sarah, his wife, and saying, hey, I know we love our son, but God have asked me to sacrifice that son for him. All right? So that's what it is. You know, I don't know what's the end result, but that's what God has asked me to do. Or better yet, imagine Abraham having a conversation with that son, saying, son, I love you so much, but now, I hope that's not how we would tell him. But God have asked me to sacrifice you. You know, I'm gonna kill you. You know, I gotta kill you. I'm following God's instruction. Can you imagine this conversation? How did it go? Like, put it into your head. Can you imagine how that conversation would end up? See, it's the same thing. When God tells us certain things, it's not for everyone to listen to. Some journey you're gonna have to take on your own. See, no matter how much Abraham loved Sarah, he chose not to tell her what God told him. No matter how much Abraham loved his son, he chose to just follow instruction and take him along with him. Some journey you're going to go on, those closest to you are not going to be there with you. Some journey that God is going to take you through, people that you love so much, you got to leave them behind. Because you were chosen for a purpose. Because if Abraham had told Sarah what happened, what God told him, she would have called him crazy. No doubt. If my dad would have told me he's about to kill me, bro, you crazy, I'm running. Ain't about to happen. You feel me? That's how Isaac probably would react. But it's because they don't understand where Abraham is with God. They don't understand where you're at with God. So therefore, if they don't understand where you're at with God, the message that God tell you, they will not understand it either. So whatever God has asked you to do, it's on your own. You may have Lisa and Mark right now holding hands. But if God asked one of them to do something, it was never meant for a partnership. If God needed to be a partnership, it would tell both of you guys what I need you to do. But if God has called you for a purpose, follow that purpose. Because it's not everyone that is in your life once again that's going to understand where God is going to take you. That journey is not for everybody. That walk with Christ is not for everybody. That hurt is not for everybody. People will give up on you. But God will never give up on you. That's why it's not for everybody. My twin brother, we're both in ministry, but some work that I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to do it alone. Vice versa, something he's going to have to do, he's going to have to do it alone. Yeah, we were born together. We always did everything together. But when God has anointed you to do something, he needs you to go alone. Moses went alone. Joseph got sold by his brothers alone. Abraham was going to kill his son alone. Daniel was dropped in a fire alone. Whoever you look at, they did it alone. So what makes you think that you're going to have to do it back with somebody else? Of course, there are scriptures in the Bible where they did it together, but you got to understand when God is speaking to you, it is just your message. Take it and run with it. So once again, when God is speaking to you, it's not just taking an act on it, but get confirmation. Once you get confirmation, okay, God, that is you talking, what do I need to do? And if God is telling you to do something, don't ask questions. Don't ask questions, because at the end of the day, you want details. Details do nothing but just add more knowledge, more annoyance to us. More complication, more doubt. See, imagine if God were to allow you to see where you're going to be at 10 years from now. You would change things around, right? Yes. Like right now, I'm in ministry, right? Let's say God, I was telling Big Sam and my brother that the other day. Like right now, I do ministry. I enjoy, I love it. But let's say God allowed me to see myself in a Fortune 500 CEO 10, 15 years from now. What do you think is going to happen to me now? My mind's going to change. Because all of a sudden, I got to prepare for that position that God is going to place me in. Right? So imagine how I went from today to 15 years from now all of a sudden. But I forgot that me here in ministry now, the things I'm doing now, the pains that I'm enduring now, the steps I'm taking now, the Facebook Live videos now, are going to open up that door to that CEO position. So if God allows us to see certain things into our future, we're going to drift away from his purpose. We're going to move away from his purpose. So that's why when God asks you to do something, don't ask for details. As long as you have confirmation that it is God that is asking you to do it, take that step and do it. All right? And to close out, we read the verse already. To close out, one thing we have to understand, and you guys may not really grasp the concept of it, but really understand it. Our everyday life is full of blessing. It's full of anointing. It's full of God placing people in our way to just be an impact to them. But how we react to it is up to us. How we choose to answer that is up to us. You know, I always give you guys examples of me at Enterprise. You know, how I choose that platform to touch people. And like I said earlier, that lady that I did an interview with today, that was not afraid to speak of God. See, God don't put you in a situation where, would you mind losing $1,000 for me? Because if you lose $1,000 for me, tomorrow I'll bless you with $10,000. Whatever you lose for God, he's going to bless you 10 times that amount. See, God's going to put you in an environment where you have no option but to speak of him. But how you react to it is up to you. And keep in mind, your reaction, your action, your daily action will bring someone else closer to Christ. You may not realize it. Someone at work is looking at you. Someone in class and school is looking at you. Someone in your community is looking at you. You may not realize it at all. But for the simple fact that when you carry yourself, that's the man of God right there. See, I don't like that goes around, hallelujah, hallelujah. I don't need you to tell me you're a Christian. Let your word and your action says you're a Christian. So I'm going to challenge you guys, as we end our message today, is the whole month we learn how we imprison ourselves, how we put ourselves in this little box, how we try to conform to society. But as Christians, we should be fitting anywhere. As a Christian, it is not our duty to be stagnant. It is not our Christian to fit within the box of society. We got to understand it's okay to step out the box. Because heaven and earth belong to who? My Father. My Father have asked me to walk by what? By faith and not by sight. So if I'm going to walk by faith and not by sight, I'm going to step out of that box that society placed me in. If I'm going to walk by faith and not by sight, I'm going to reach out to whoever God wants me to reach out to. So if I'm going to do those things, it requires me just being who I am. And like I said, your daily action will just determine who you bring to Christ, how you bring people to Christ. So don't ever be afraid to tell somebody you're a Christian. I'm not saying go out in your community and say, God, Jesus, 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 Jesus. But let your action rather speak for God. So once again, walk by faith and not by sight. Don't let anyone or anything determine what's next for your life.
Amen.
All right? Anything else? Any questions? That is your message for today. I'm so sorry. Yes, sir. You have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How can you make the difference between like God's voice and the devil's voice?
Anybody want to answer that?
What do you say?
How can you
I can
make a difference?
differentiate. I mean, I can tell the difference between God and the enemy.
Well, since he knows this, how would you know it's his voice if she's calling you?
You recognize it.
You have to spend time with God in order to recognize his voice.
Example I want to give you is I have a twin brother, Sam. Correct? If Sam and I are in a room sometime, crazy enough. Like, if you've been to my house, you've probably seen it before. My mom be in the house, just call Sam. And I'll answer, she still talk, she still respond. You know, like we're twins. She'll be like, Sam, hey mom, what's up? She'll still talk. That's not Sam talking. Or they'll just pull up to the living room, hey Sam, do this me. I don't have hair, like can y'all not tell? So what I'm saying is, a lot of time, you're going to see resemblance. You're going to see resemblance between God and the enemy. But you got to understand to pick and choose which one is a distraction, which one is a blessing. Because if you just answer to every voice that come your way, you go, what's that? I'll use an example. It's always to talk about relationship because we all have wasted years in that department of our lives. If you pray God for something and that thing come around, whether it's a job, relationship, or even friends, if the action of the Holy Spirit, that's what pick it up. If they're doing things that don't align with Christ, if you have to compromise who you are as a Christian, that's not okay. So it's really like Valencia said, spending time in your Bible and understanding and knowing what God was and what is not. And if you can't really do that right here, dig a little deeper. Keep digging. Because if you got a blessing, you thought it was a blessing, you end up being a curse later on, you never prayed in the first place to see, was it a discernment? Was I certain that this was God? Was this really God acting up on my behalf? Was that just me just being thirsty and just rushing to a situation that God never intended for me to be in? So, Joy, you have something to say too?
Question. Is speaking in tongue a way to communicate with God?
Speaking in tongue? I'll let us do that. But speaking in tongue for me, I don't even know. I'll be honest with y'all. Take off the Christian face mask. Yeah, ministry, but certain things I'm still learning. And like I said every other Tuesday, I just recently accept the fact it's an aspect of gift from God. Because I read it in the Bible. It is a form of communication with God, but I believe it. Sam speak.
All right.
It's a house of God. I don't want to say anything.
All right. Well, there's a couple different types of speaking in tongues. There's a speaking in tongues where you speak for your personal edification, like where you're building your faith with God. Because I've had times where I'm speaking in tongues, but I'm speaking human languages, but I never learned these human languages before. Or there are times when I'm speaking in tongues, but it's not a human language, but I know that I'm communicating with God. I'm speaking the perfect will of God over my life. I'm communicating. The thing about that speaking in tongues in that way is that I don't understand what I'm saying. The devil doesn't understand what I'm saying. The angels don't understand what I'm saying. Only me and God understand what I'm saying. Only God understands what I'm saying. But at the same time, I can ask God, you know what? God, what am I saying? What did I just say? You know, sometimes whether through a vision or dream, or whether I just start speaking English words, what I was just saying, or sometimes just singing worship songs, and also singing that song in English, and I understand what I was saying. And yeah, that's how that happens. But speaking in tongues is a legitimate, I'd say it's one of the best ways to communicate with God, because that's the Holy Spirit of God praying through you. So like there's no way you can miss, because you're praying the perfect will of God over your life. So sometimes things will just come your way that you never prayed for, but like you prayed it in tongues, you just didn't know. So that's, I don't know if that answers your question. If you had anything else to ask.
I mean, all those languages, you said some of them are human languages.
Yes, sometimes it's a human language speaking. Yeah.
From another corner of the world.
Like, okay, how I know that is that sometimes I record myself. I'm praying in tongues, I record myself. And then I search up what I was praying. I put it in Google Translate, and like I'm legitimately speaking another language, and they're translating word for word what I was saying. And I'm like, wow, this is lit. You know, I heard of this story of this preacher. I don't know if you heard of Creflo Dollar, but like, yeah, he's a preacher. And this one time he brought an African dude to his house, and he started praying in tongues. His mother was there, and he was praying, and then he didn't know what he was saying, but the African dude was standing right there. He said, "You just spoke my native language, and you translated every word exactly like I would translate it." And like that was sometimes it's for your own personal edification. But if there's no one here who has the gift of translating, so I can just speak out loud because people think I'm crazy. Because that's how it sounds. It sounds crazy when you're speaking it.
Yeah, and for the longest, that's how I thought it looked like. It's crazy. What are you saying? But I read in the Bible. If I don't read something in the Bible, you tell me for the longest, I'm not gonna believe it. But I read in the Bible it's a gift of God. And also, like Big Sam says, somebody in a room has to be able to identify what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because if nobody understands you, you'll be known as crazy.
That's the thing, though. I mean, if nobody understands you, that means everybody gonna think you're crazy, like you said.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it a way to talk to God? You see
Yes,
what I'm
it
saying?
is. Yes, it is.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I've got to like give you what I haven't received it yet. I would love,
It's
man.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, that's what
I
I was
know.
about to say.
I would love to. I would love to do it.
I've seen it before in person. Freaks me out. I'll freak out. If I go to a church they're doing it, I freak out.
Yeah, me too.
As of lately, I learned to just it's a way of communication with God. I'll stay still, and I catch myself once or twice about to do it, and I stop praying. Throw everything off. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, no, not doing it. I stop prayer, stop everything. But I have to learn to understand it's a way of communicating with God. So if that is how God will communicate with Him, I can't stop it. But for me, it's a fear. But over time, God will elevate me to the next phase of life where I understand. But yeah.
You won't let it. We stop it every time you about to.
And we'll be fine. Next year. Anybody else have any other questions? Perfect. All right, guys. Great. Once again, thank you very much, you guys, for your time. It was amazing. Once again, guys, like we said, every Tuesday we speak. Every Tuesday we come here. We don't want to be a stagnant Bible study. We want to make sure we don't have a church, but we want to make sure that